Good evening, girls. So today we will do about Mendelian genetics. You've already done about Mendel in your 12. So this will be just as a refresher for you, no? It'll be like a refresher for you. So there in the picture you can see Gregor Mendel, the monk who was from Austria. Okay, but present day now it is in the Czech Republic. Okay. So he was born an Austrian monk, okay, and he is who we know as the father of genetics, okay. So for 7 years, this monk Gregor Mendel, he worked on the pea plant, no, Pisum sativum, and he did a lot of interbreeding and crossbreeding to arrive at the laws of genetics. Now let's just see a little bit about his history. Okay. Now his full name is Gregor Johann Mendel. Okay. Although you don't have to, it's not in your syllabus not to know about his history, but as a mark of respect for him, we should know, we should know about this scientist who is the father of genetics. Now, what will be very shocking to you was that he was very much interested in maths, in philosophy, in physics, in science. He was very much interested in studies. Okay, and as a young boy, he always wanted to study. But because of his lack of livelihood, lack of money, because during those days, 150 years back, almost 200 years back in the 20th century, 1860 something, the 1800s, people could barely survive, and education, like education would be the last thing on their mind. They could hardly survive. So what his sister did was she sold off all of her dowry. Dowry means the money that her parents saved for her marriage. She gave it to him so that he could continue his studies. But since this scientist Mendel, he was very much interested in more and more knowledge. Not only was he interested in biology, but he was more also interested in mathematics, in physics and other sciences. He wanted to go higher in the university. They could not afford to send him to the university. So a very lucky thing happened was that he realized that if he became a monk, if he dedicated his life to the service of God, he could also dedicate his life to knowledge. Because once he is ordained as a monk, the monastery would sponsor his studies. He could become a great scientist, and we know that he is a great scientist. Till now, we are following his laws. So he became a monk in the monastery. I'll show you the image later. So he became a monk, and luckily on becoming a monk, other than his duties of as a monk, they must be having other duties. Other than those duties, he was assigned to tend the garden. Okay, the garden at the monastery means to tend the food, the vegetables, tend the vegetable garden, okay, that the monks would eat. Okay, because they would eat very simple food. Meat was very rare, or maybe they didn't have, I'm not sure, but they would have lots of vegetables. So our scientist Gregor Johann Mendel, he was also assigned, other than his normal duties, he was assigned to take care of a garden. Okay, and that garden served as his experimental laboratory. That garden that he tended became his own experimental place. So wasn't it so lucky? Okay, now before I show you those pictures, now let's just see. So between 1856 and 1863, he cultivated and tested around 28,000 pea plants. Okay, so you can just imagine, just try and cultivate 5 plants, or water it every week, no? Then remove the weeds, just try. You will see you have no time. So you forget to try. Just cultivating 5 plants is so tough. So just think, Gregor Mendel, he cultivated and tested around 28,000 pea plants. Now this is the monastery, and you can look at the garden. It's so small, isn't it? So that was his experimental garden in the Czech Republic. Before, like 200 years ago, it was under the Austrian Empire. No, now it is under the present Czech Republic. So let us see again. Now, what is very lucky about our Mendel was that if suppose, like you've heard about the geneticist Morgan, no? Morgan studied, I think you've done in zoology, he did with the Drosophila fly, no? And there are so many genes in the Drosophila fly. You have the white eyes, you have the red eyes, you have the small eyes, the big eyes, no? Then the winged, then the small wing, then the vestigial wings, so many characters that it would have been very complicated if Gregor Mendel had chosen the wrong or the more complicated sample. But maybe it was God's grace or God's plan or God's leadership that made him choose the pea plant, which has very, very direct characters. Either it is a tall pea plant or either short. Either the seed is round or it is wrinkled. Either it is a yellow seed or a green seed. So the characters, the traits that were expressed once you cross, they were very easy to notice. He didn't have to go into the genetics of it. He don't know about the chromosome. He don't know about the genes. Simply he planted them and he saw, oh, there were some tall plants and oh, there are some short plants. And then, oh, I'm seeing some yellow seeds. I'm seeing some green seeds. So he was very lucky, or you can say that he was blessed. No, God has blessed him by making him choose the right sample, the right plant, the right organism to study so that he could arrive at these laws. Okay, although they were not recognized until the 20th century, means until the 1900s, because it was such a new and novel approach that they took around like almost 80 to 90 years to recognize his work, because it was something so new, it was something so innovative. Like, suppose I discovered, let's say, a robot, who could do everything on its own. And in this point of time, it sounds impossible, no? So maybe it will be recognized after 100 years that yes, there is a robot that can do everything, no? That can behave like God. So here also they could not recognize his work for maybe almost 100 years, because before that other scientists, they simply thought that these were factors, no? Simply like magical, okay? They just appeared randomly. But he says no, that the plant of spring, they retained the traits of the parent. To him, he says they do not appear in nature randomly. He says, he finds that the traits are already present in the parent, and that child will get its trait from the parent. Okay. So at that time, 200 years ago, this was a very new approach. Okay. So he just said that there are some particles, okay, some particle is some magical particle that is sent from mother to child. But he do not know what this particle is, okay. He just said that they are factors, they are particle. He said, I don't know what it is, but I know there is something. But in this day and age, in this 21st century, we know that those particles are nothing but our chromosomes, our genes, our DNA, no? These hereditary DNA material. Now we know. It took us 200 years to figure out that what Mendel said, those particles, those factors, it was true. Okay. So it's not that we should not feel that, oh, we should have listened to Mendel 200 years ago. How we will listen when there was no proof? So he was limited by the research of his time. Okay. So yes, some of you may be feeling angry. Why those other scientists, they did not recognize him? Why did not give him the Nobel Prize? Why they did not give him the recognition he deserved? It's not that. It's because you need proof, no? So now there is proof, right? Like Chatswin and what is it? Double helix structure, no? They got the Nobel Prize, right? The DNA double helix. The one who discovered that the DNA is double helix, they have shared the Nobel Prize, no? Because they could prove it, right? So, his work was left unrecognized because there was no proof. But now, after 200 years, we have proved it, that those particles, those magical particles that came from parent to offspring were nothing but your chromosomes and your DNA. So now, looking at some terms, a trait is any characteristic that can be passed from a parent to its child, okay? And hereditary means that same trait we pass from the parent to the child, okay? Genetics is the study of hereditary. So he has our Gregor Johann Mendel. He studied the two types of crosses, the monohybrid and the dihybrid crosses. I will show you in the next class with the proper notes, okay? Today's class is just an introduction, just for you to appreciate, to have respect for our father of genetics, okay? Gregor Mendel, this man who sacrificed everything. He decided that he wants to study so hard that his family could not support him. So he decided to become a monk so that he can go for further studies, okay? So this giant sacrifice that he made, to give up worldly pleasures, to give up everything for the sake of knowledge, we need to appreciate it. Not need means I want to instill that appreciation in you so that you have a love of studying. Because for you all, for us all, it's so easy now, no? Just mobile you on, and in the WhatsApp or in the YouTube, we teachers send you. But think about these people 200 years ago who had nothing, who basically had to give up all their dreams just because they just want to study. They want to find the knowledge, okay? And I think also that little bit of faith is required, probably after repeating his experiment, because he tried with 28,000 plants. So probably, I'm just imagining, maybe when he reached 1,000, 2,000 plants, maybe he lost hope. What am I doing with my life? Why I'm planting this pea plant again and again? What I'm going to get with it? But maybe because of his faith in God, his faith in science, his faith in knowledge, and his faith in himself, he kept continuing with his experiments until he could come out with laws of genetics. Imagine, for something to be called as a law, means there is nothing else above that law, no? A law means once a theory is a law, it cannot be shaken ever again, okay? So his persistence, it worked, okay? So even you, those of you who will go for further research, you will realize that when you do your research, keeping on doing the experiment again and again and again, it keeps failing, but you have to persist. If you want to achieve something great, you need to have patience. You need to have hard work. Okay, so we will stop here for today, and I hope I have ignited the fire of learning to you all again, because I understand, no, we haven't met each other for so long that it becomes difficult to connect with the teachers. Okay, so if there's any doubt, please let me know.